So, today we're diving into a pretty radical idea, the idea that waste doesn't actually exist. We're going to look at some incredible technologies and really clever business models that are turning the stuff we throw away every single day into the valuable resources of tomorrow. Yeah, we're talking about the circular economy.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Every single thing you own has a life cycle. But what if the end of that life wasn't a landfill? What if it was just the beginning of a brand new one? This is the core idea we're digging into today. That massive shift away from a take, make, dispose world to one that's circular and regenerative right from the start.
All right, let's get into it. First, we'll look at the business models that are making all of this profitable. Then we'll get into the really cool nitty-gritty tech behind recycling plastics, textiles, electronics, and even giant piles of construction rubble. And finally, we'll zoom back out and talk about what this all means for the future.
Okay, first up, the business side of things. Because, look, for the circular economy to really truly work on a global scale, it can't just be good for the planet. It's got to be good for the bottom line, right? And that's exactly where this new generation of business models is shining. So the engine driving this whole change is this really powerful concept called our business models. You can think of it as a playbook, a set of strategies for keeping products and materials in use for as long as humanly possible. That R stands for all of the good stuff: repair, refurbish, re-commerce. You get the picture.
And the variety here is just huge. We're talking about everything from platforms for reselling used goods to sharing models that mean we don't all need to own one of everything. We've got robust repair and refurbishment programs, and even these amazing industrial models where one company's waste literally becomes another company's raw material. Let's look at a few examples of this in the real world.
Okay, check this out. This is re-commerce in action. Companies like Momox have built their entire business on this simple yet super powerful idea of giving used stuff a new home. They've created these seamless online marketplaces that make it just as easy to buy a secondhand book as it is to buy a new one. And it's not just startups. The big brands are getting in on this too. IKEA's Second Life program is a brilliant take-back system. They literally buy back their own used furniture from customers and then resell it in their stores. I mean, think about it. It keeps furniture out of the landfill, it gives customers a more affordable option, and it creates a whole new revenue stream for IKEA. It's a win-win-win. And you know, this isn't some brand new, trendy idea. The refurbished model has been proven for decades. Canon, for example, has been successfully refurbishing complex electronics, we're talking cameras, huge copy machines, in Germany all the way back since 1999. They are masters at taking a used product, restoring it to like-new condition, and putting it right back on the market. So now that we've seen the business models, let's get into the tech that makes it all possible. And we have to start with one of our biggest challenges: plastics. We all know about basic recycling, right? You shred a bottle to help make another bottle. But what about the really tricky stuff? You know, the complex, mixed up, or even dirty plastics? Well, that's where the real innovation kicks in. The answer is something called chemical recycling. Now, what's so cool about this is the approach. Instead of just melting plastic down, these processes actually break it back down into its fundamental chemical building blocks, these little things called monomers. It's kind of like taking a giant Lego castle and completely disassembling it back into pristine, individual bricks, ready to build something totally new. And there are a few really clever ways to do this. Some methods use special solvents to basically wash and purify the plastic, stripping out all the old dyes and additives. Others use chemicals to precisely snip those long polymer chains apart. And some use intense heat with no oxygen to turn the plastic back into a valuable oil, which is the perfect raw material for making brand new, virgin quality plastic from scratch. Okay, now let's take that same high-tech thinking and apply it to another huge waste stream: textiles. Your old t-shirts, your old jeans, they are incredibly hard to recycle well. For years, the only real option was to shred them, but that damages and shortens the fibers, which really limits what you can do with them. But all of that is changing. This slide breaks it down perfectly. You've got the old way, mechanical recycling, which just shreds the clothes. The fibers get shorter, so you can really only mix about 20% of it into new fabric. But then you have chemical recycling, and this is a total game changer. It completely dissolves the cotton into a pulp, which lets you create brand new virgin quality fibers. We're talking fabric made from 100% recycled material.
So there's this company, Circulose, and they've pretty much nailed this process. They take old, discarded cotton clothing, shred it up, pull out all the buttons and zippers, then they decolorize it and turn the whole thing into a slurry, filtering out any contaminants like polyester. This slurry then gets dried into these pure sheets of pulp, all ready to be sent off to make new fibers.
And just look at this. It's incredible. This is that final pulp. It looks like a fresh, raw material, but it's made from 100% recycled textiles. From this, you can spin new yarns to create amazing, high-quality clothing, completely closing the loop on fashion waste. It's just wow. All right, next stop, we're going urban mining. Think about all those drawers full of old electronics we all have. It's one of the fastest growing waste streams on the planet, but is also a literal treasure trove. And get this, believe it or not, there's more gold in a ton of old phones than there is in a ton of raw gold ore dug from a mine. The challenge is just, how do you get it out? So how do you mine a circuit board? Well, it's this really fascinating multi-step dance between people and technology. It starts with human hands carefully removing dangerous parts like batteries and screens. Then the machines take over. The e-waste gets shredded into a fine confetti. And from there, a whole series of clever filters kicks in. Powerful magnets pull out all the iron. Special electrical fields actually push away aluminum and copper. It's this super sophisticated sorting line that ends with pure streams of metals and plastics, ready to be used all over again.
From those tiny electronics, let's zoom way out to the biggest waste stream of them all, construction and demolition waste. I mean, every time a building comes down or a road gets repaved, it generates these massive amounts of concrete, brick, and asphalt. For the longest time, this stuff just went to a landfill. Not anymore.
The key here, and this is genius, is bringing the recycling plant to the rubble. These incredible mobile crushers are driven directly onto a demolition site. They literally chew through huge chunks of concrete and asphalt, sorting and grinding them down into fresh aggregate that's ready to be used in the very next project, sometimes right there on the same site. It is a massive leap in efficiency.
And just how effective is this? I mean, take a look at these numbers from Germany. The recycling rates are honestly just incredible. Over 93% of building rubble gets recycled. And for road materials like old asphalt, it's almost 98%. This just goes to show what's possible when you have the right technology and the right systems in place.
So the next question is, where does all this stuff go? This chart breaks it down for us. Over half, more than 51%, of all recycled construction materials go right back into building new roads. Another 22% is used in earthworks, like building up embankments. And almost another 22% goes right back into making new asphalt and concrete. It is a nearly perfect circular system.
We've covered a lot of ground today, everything from business models to high-tech machinery. So what's the big takeaway from all this? I think it's a fundamental shift in how we see the world. It's about realizing that waste, it isn't a given. It's not inevitable. It's simply a flaw in our design process. And that's really the most important thing to remember here. The circular economy isn't some far-off futuristic dream. It's here. It's happening right now. As we've seen, the technology exists, the business models are profitable, and it's already actively turning what we used to call waste into the very resources that will build our future. So, the tech is ready. The businesses are proving it can work. What's the final piece of the puzzle? Well, it's us. Every choice we make, from buying something refurbished to asking, what is this made of, helps close that loop. So the real question isn't whether the future is circular. The question is, what role are you going to play in building it?